welcome to the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Our guest today is Rhonda Glover, and she's a certified career coach for law enforcement professionals.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just so grateful to be here. Thank you for having me. And I just love that I'm here representing the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. So
and I'm
just
glad
honored.
you're here as well. It took a while because I've been after you guys for a while, so they finally sent me a good representative.
Yes, thank
now,
you.
Now, you were in the FBI for 34 years, recently retired, right?
Absolutely. 34 years, retired in September 2018, and I'm loving it.
The climate back in the 80s,
Yes.
which is when you started, I'm sure it was a lot different.
Oh, yes.
Back then
Yes.
than it is now. Tell us what it was like for you starting off this career in the FBI in the 1980s.
Well, I had just graduated from college. I graduated in '83 from Old Dominion University, and all I ever wanted to do was to be an FBI agent.
You knew that?
I knew that.
Wow.
I
was
knew
there
that.
something you saw, something that happened?
Yes, yes. When I was a little girl, I used to look at the FBI with Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., and I just loved that show. And I only remember one episode, but it just did something to me. And so the FBI was just kind of ingrained in me. And so fast forward to high school, there was a pamphlet in my counselor's office, and I knew right off, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. And that just stuck with me. And so I had that opportunity to go into the FBI. I went into the FBI as professional staff. I did that for 4 years.
But when you did you start off in that position, or how did you start?
Not as an agent. I got my foot in the door because my mother was in the government, and my godfather was in government. My father was in the public school system. He was a teacher, and so I had a lot of good support around me during that time, and a lot of people I knew, they were in the government, and one of the things that they told me consistently was to get your foot in the door. Just get in, just get in. And then you could start seeing what the agency looks like. You could determine whether you may decide you want to do something else, Rhonda. You may want to do something else, but I knew in my heart all I ever wanted to do was to be an FBI agent.
And so you got that opportunity at some point to be an agent. Tell me about that.
I did. 4 years later, in September 1988, I went to the FBI Academy, and I had the opportunity to train, get my mind right, get my body right, just learn everything that I needed to learn to become a special agent in the FBI. And at Quantico, you're going through physical agility, mental agility. You're learning different things about the law, criminal procedure. And you're in shooting firearms. That was important. You want to be proficient in firearms because you're carrying a weapon throughout your career.
When people think of the FBI, they think of like the series.
Yes.
People working undercover.
Yes.
You have these cool jobs that you go to.
Yes.
These cool assignments. What does it mean to be a special agent? What does that include?
For me, it was a lifestyle, and it included so many different things. I had the opportunity to take advantage of what the FBI offered. I was able to work different type of cases. I served in undercover roles on many occasions. I traveled all over the world, and I traveled throughout the United States doing undercover work, and I enjoyed it. And it really stretched me, and it really took me to another level because I was able to see what was out there, what are the different violations the FBI was involved in. And so most of my career as an agent, I worked drug investigations. But as I you know, progressed throughout my career, I started to see different violations and just to see what else was out there. Because in the FBI, you have the opportunity to switch up. And that was one of the best things about the FBI. It's a very large organization. And so you can come in working one violation and you could see that, you know, I might be interested in working white collar matters. And then you just kind of throw your name in the hat to see whether you can do some of those things. You could switch off and go to another squad and work different cases.
Now, I'm sure that there were not a lot of women,
correct,
especially women of color,
correct,
doing
yeah,
what you were doing.
Absolutely.
What were some of the benefits of being one of a few women of color, and some of the things that were not so much a benefit?
Well, the benefit is being able to show others that you can be a part of the FBI. Young girls that look like me, I was able to mentor and I was able to talk to them about the FBI. And even the women in the FBI already that were professional staff, they weren't agents. So I was able to talk to them about my experience and encourage them, because you run into a lot of people that might be interested in a position, but they're not quite sure what to do, where to go, who to talk to. And so I mean, I have the opportunity now, fast forward as a certified career coach, to really talk to people about what it looks like to be an agent and what you need to do to get ready for that.
And we'll talk about that in just a minute, but you wrote a book,
yes,
dealing with your experiences,
yes,
as a female FBI professional. Tell
yes,
us about that.
Well, the name of the book is Dear Fear, and so I have a chapter in the book, and I talk about my beginnings with the FBI, how I joined the FBI. And so my first position with the FBI it was an administrative position, and it was a professional staff position. And so back then in '84, when I started with the FBI, in fact, today, August 27th, oh my goodness, this would have been 35 years for me in the FBI, but that's when I started. But I started in a professional staff position, and again, like I mentioned, just getting my foot in the door. But the position was not anything that I thought I should be doing. And
so did you start off as a receptionist?
I started on the switchboard. And I felt some kind of way about that, Stephanie. I really, really did. I had my degree. I was armed to take on the world. And the FBI
started you
off at the switchboard.
And you know what? I have to tell a similar story. Yeah. I remember getting out of college and thinking I was ready to take on the world. I was going to get my dream broadcast job, and I was put on a switchboard. And I wasn't very good at it either.
Yeah.
So this is nothing against people who are on the switchboard or whatever,
right,
but that's not what I expected after, 4 years of school and with all these big dreams.
Yes.
To answer phones.
But the twist there, when I found out that's what I was going to do, I had the opportunity to call my mother. And I called my mother and I said, "Ma, they put me on the switchboard." And this is where the shift happened for me going forward in my bureau career. "Rhonda, someone must have heard your voice and thought you would be good on the switchboard." So from that point on, when my mother said that to me, my whole mindset, it just changed. I still had that fear. I still had that, really thinking about what are people going to say? What am I going to? I can't tell my friends and my family that I am the switchboard operator at the FBI, and I never had to do that. I never had to tell anybody, because it was interesting how that worked out. Folks would always say, "Oh, you can't talk about what you do." And I'm like, "No, I can't talk about what it." So I never did. So in dealing with that fear and dealing with that shame of the position, I didn't have to talk about it, but I just kind of turned it around and I told myself
put a positive spin on it.
Exactly. And I learned everything that I could about that switchboard. And as I learned about it, I realized that the switchboard at that time in the FBI was the zenith of activity. It was, everything came through the switchboard. I met executives from working on the switchboard. I was able to launch and do different things as a result of working on the switchboard. So my mindset changed, which allowed me to change my attitude and to just change the way I saw things and the way that I showed up. And so that's the biggest takeaway from my beginning, is just how I showed up. And so that's really, really important, because when people saw me, they saw my energy, they saw my positivity, they saw that I was really interested in doing what I was doing. And so that's very, very crucial. That's very, very important, because people are always watching. And so I knew that throughout my career, people are always watching. And so because I knew that, doors and opportunity and all kinds of things just started to open up for me as I moved throughout my 34-year career.
That's such a wonderful lesson, to have taken that message that, or taken that idea and turned it around into something positive. For me, it was a couple of years later. I had a coworker who said, no matter what job you're doing, act like you're going to work for Jesus.
Yes, that's good. I love that.
He said, would you be late for Jesus?
See, that was good.
He said, would you do a sloppy job for Jesus?
Yes.
I said, no.
Yes.
He said, you would do the best job you could possibly do.
That's right.
If you knew you were working for Jesus.
That's right. Show up decent and in order.
Yes. And do you know, those few simple words just turned my mindset around. I thought from that moment forward, thank you, Victor. From that moment forward, I just, no matter what job I did, I tried to do. And you're right. You open up doors that way.
Yes.
People are watching. People see, hey, she does good, and you're considered for other things.
Exactly. That's why you have to do the best thing, do your best in anything that you're given, because you can't, you really shouldn't expect to get something better if you're not doing your best in what you're doing.
Exactly. Exactly. I have to ask you though, the FBI that you walked into is very different from the FBI of today.
Yes.
You know, back in the day, who knew who the FBI director was?
Exactly.
Or you didn't even hear the FBI in the news.
Right.
What do you think about today's climate and how the FBI is being framed?
Well, it's disappointing, but I know that it's all about the mission. And I know the employees, they know that it's all about the mission. So they're getting the job done. They're going to continue to get the job done. I know when I started with the FBI, you didn't hear about what the FBI was doing unless there was a really, really big case and it was in the news, and it was, you know, we were arresting a lot of people at one time. You heard about the FBI, but you just didn't hear about people that you work with and people that you work you know, that you talk to on a regular basis, and you see them in the hallway, and you just did not hear their names, or you saw their faces on TV.
And did you know their politics?
No, that's in the beginning. It was not political. There was no. It was just, we were about the business. We were about taking care of business, working the cases, doing the work. And now the Bureau is still doing that. It's about the cases and doing the work and getting the job done. And it's about the mission. But the negative part of it is that you're hearing about other things that can really affect you. If you allow it to, it can affect you.
But you believe that the morale is such that this will be, I mean, because the FBI has gone through administrative changes in leadership.
Right, correct.
Over the last 30 years.
Yes.
And they survived that.
Exactly.
So do you think that the FBI will survive this as well?
Absolutely. The FBI is going to stay strong, stay the course, and just really focus on the mission. That's one of the things that when I was in the FBI, I oversaw the onboarding program, which meant all new employees saw me first. And it was a week program at Quantico at the FBI Academy. And before you started your position that you were hired for, you had to go through the onboarding program. And so I had the opportunity to really download in new employees, and I had the opportunity to tell them, look, it's about the mission. It's not about you. It's about the mission. It's about you doing your job. It's about you representing the American people and representing what the Constitution stands for and doing your job to the best of your ability and remembering it is about the mission. Every day when you get up and you go to work, you sign that contract to say that you were going to be on time and you're going to do your job. It's about the mission. And so when you stay focused on that and just do your job, do the best that you could do.
Well, let's talk about your post-FBI career.
Yes.
Because right now at this, you're still helping law enforcement.
Correct.
Tell us about what you're doing.
Well, I'm excited about my 2.0, my next chapter. I'm a certified career coach. My focus is law enforcement and individuals that are interested in law enforcement. 34 years of law enforcement experience with the FBI. I come with so much information, and I want to share it. I want to prepare and shift anyone that's interested in being a law enforcement officer, and I'm interested in shifting those who are already in law enforcement that really want to go to the next level, because I had the opportunity in really moving up throughout the agency.
What are you telling them? What strategies do they need to move within these agencies?
Staying focused. It really, again, I mentioned it before, the mission. Focusing on the mission, focusing on what you're doing, and really showing up at your best. Showing up at your best. If you are working white collar crime and you are really focused on securities fraud or any sort of white collar fraud or medical fraud, any sort of violation that you're working, you want to be the best at it, and you want to do your work like you're number one. You're going to be the expert at it.
Well, is it important to have mentors?
It's
people who
yes.
were keeping an eye on you.
Absolutely, and it's real important to have mentors. I'm big on mentor. I'm a mentor. I use that as part of my business as well, to mentor law enforcement and to mentor those who are interested in joining an agency, a law enforcement agency. But it is important. It's important to get connected with people that are doing what you want to do. It's important for you to get connected with like-minded people and just to hear what they have to say and ask those questions.
And I think that's been a lot of the failure for African Americans in particular, getting to that next level.
Right.
Is because a lot of decisions are made on the golf course or out to dinner when we're not invited
Right, exactly.
to those activities.
Right.
So how do you get that mentorship? How do you get that opportunity to make your pitch, to get to the next level, if you're not at the golf game, if you're not at the country club?
Well, a couple of things. I know when you see someone that you know that you want to connect with, talk to them. Hey, I really would like to take you out for some coffee. I like to talk to you and just ask you some questions.
What if they reject me?
You know what? If they reject you, go to the next person. Don't let them keep you from moving in the direction that you want to go, because they're going to be good mentors and they're going to be people that are not interested in mentoring you. But that's okay. You just move to the next person and see what happens. People feel rejected and they feel that, well, you know what, I guess it's just not for me. But no, I'm here to tell you that you just have to keep going. You got to keep going. If that's what you want to do, you have to keep going.
What kept you going? for the 34 years? It must have been something you enjoyed, something you felt a passion for. No one stays in something that long without having a passion.
Yeah, I love the work. I love the people. I love engaging with people. And that's why I'm a coach right now, because I love downloading in people and helping people get out of their own way. And so that was really important to me. I did a lot of that in the FBI, not knowing what it was coaching. I was coaching. I'd been coaching for more than 20 years of just engaging with people and interacting with people and just helping them, you know, go to the next level.
You just mentioned getting out of your own way.
Yes.
How does that stop people? How do people get in their own way?
Well, one way that they get in their own way is like he or she, they're not going to talk to me. I would love for them to be my mentor, but they're not going to talk to me. I'm not going to ask them. Oh, I love to do this job, but I'm not going to get the job. You know, so-and-so is going to get the job. I'm not going to get it.
And I've always said, why can't that so-and-so be me?
Yeah.
That's what you got to say.
Exactly.
Why can't I be the one to get that job?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so you find fear is a big factor in people not getting what they want.
Absolutely. Oh, yes. I see that a lot. I see people allowing fear to keep them from moving forward. And it's going to be there. Fear is going to show up, but then you have to continue to show up differently. And you have to talk to it. You have to say, hey, fear, I see you. I see you over there trying to keep me from moving forward, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep trying to go to that next level because this is what I want to do. I see you over there. And that's why I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful that I was able to get out from under that fear, because when I showed up at the FBI in 1984 and not knowing what I was going to do, you know, I could have easily decided that I can't do this job. I'm not going to be a switchboard operator for the FBI. No, I can't tell my friends. I can't tell my family. I can't do that. No. And that was fear showing up, fear and shame and all those negative things. I was almost allowing it to keep me from my dream, to keep me from doing what I know that I was meant to do, because for 34 years, I was covered. God covered me, and I knew that that was the path that he wanted me to take.
Now, law enforcement is a huge area. We're dealing with not just local, state law enforcement. We're dealing with the CIA. We're dealing with the FBI. Law enforcement is huge.
Yes.
Who do you connect with when you're doing your career counseling? Local, national, state, federal?
All across the board. I just want to share with you now, you mentioned the CIA. CIA is an intelligence arm.
Okay.
So when you're talking for different law enforcement agencies, I'm connected with the NOBLE, National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. I'm an active member. I've been an active member since the late 80s. Since I became an agent, and even before, I'm a member of the International Association of Chiefs of Police. I'm very active there. So I stay connected with law enforcement professionals. So
in staying connected, what do you think about the climate nowadays when it comes to law enforcement? Just like with the FBI, with them being demonized over the last. How do you feel as far as law enforcement goes with the things that have been in the news, they being connected to shootings and things like that? The whole issue of police brutality and police not dealing with the community in a way they should. I know the FBI is sort of removed from that, kind of far removed from that. But in working with people from all agencies, from all areas, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, one of the good things about the FBI, we are connected. Well, see, just like I know we talked about before.
Okay.
Yeah, that we. So I have to really monitor that because I left in September. But 34 years. That's that's a long time. Yes, it's a long time to be part of an organization. But when I was there and I would see police brutality or shootings and unwarranted shootings,
stop and frisk.
Yes, it was just in some respects it hurt. As a black female and as someone who loves young people and just loves our people, to see something like that happening and to know that it is law enforcement. And it's just, it was difficult to see. It was difficult to, sometimes stomach, just to see what was going on. But I know as being a part of different law enforcement organizations and just really right now staying connected and knowing what are some of the solutions to some of those.
And what do you find are some of the solutions? In our last 2 minutes, what are some of the solutions?
Some of the solutions are the departments need to be more connected to the community and doing better and really understanding what the struggles of the community are. To really being intentional, the departments being intentional about their officers, making sure that they're trained, making sure that they're taken care of. Because being a police officer can be very, very stressful. And so when you're feeling stress, that's, unfortunately, that's when mistakes can happen. And so officers have to watch one another. Departments have to watch their officers. Be mindful of the warning signs. Be mindful of when they're seeing an officer displaying some sort of stress. Do something about it then. Don't wait until that officer is involved in a shooting or involved in any sort of activity that is unlawful. Be mindful of that and demonstrate that courage to step up and provide the help that officer needs.
Indeed, indeed. In wrapping up our discussion, what advice would you have to a young lady in 30 seconds who is interested in going into law enforcement?
Stay focused. If that's what you want to do, you want to stay focused, exercise, keep your body right, keep your mind right, and call Rhonda Glover.
Rhonda Glover, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And it's just so wonderful that after 34 years in the FBI, you're still doing something that you want to do by opening up your business and mentoring to others.
Yes,
Good luck to you.
Oh, thank you so much.
You've been watching the Sisters for Fitness Wellness Show. I'm Stephanie Gaines-Bryant. Our guest, Rhonda Glover, a certified career coach for law enforcement. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.